Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video lesson, we're going to create a very simple artist trading card. Now when I say artist trading card, I'm just saying because it's 2.5 by 3.5. It can be any size you want, but it's going to be a small piece of art. And what I'm going to be doing is combining the harshness of industrialism and then the softness of nature. Now I did another project as well using a butterfly. This one here I'm going to use paper flowers, and I'm also going to use color to create a lot of contrast. Now I'm using an embossed card that I did, and I did there's gonna be a link in the video on how I did this, just so I don't keep doing these demonstrations in every video. But basically it was from a book of backgrounds page, which had some brown paint and some silver paint on it, and then I just ran it through my embossing folder. So that's what I have with that. And so with this, I mean, you can just take transparent red iron oxide or burnt sienna, put it down, then just take some metallic paint like some silver and then just wipe it back. I mean, that you could do that. That's no big deal. I'm going to be painting this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So with that, so just any type of textured card, and I've got these little paper flowers that my friend Cheryl gave me. I'm going to be using those. I'm going to be painting them. And I've got this border that she also gave me, and I'm going to pop that over here. And then I've got the quote, and the quote is, "Say hello to others, you will have a happier day." So just this by itself isn't enough for the contrasts of between industry and nature. And this is not to be woo-woo or anything, but it's just, I just like finding things that, you know, are opposites and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do, the plan is, and you know my plans always change, I'm going to be taking this and I'm going to apply a layer of DecoArt matte metallics, and it's the flat metallic soft silver. Then I'm going to come in and apply the extreme sheen pewter onto the flower so it looks like liquid metal. I have to figure out what I'm going to put in the middle. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with that. And then for this little piece here, to contrast, to add some vintage to it, I'm going to come in with the DecoArt Media Fluid Acrylics, transparent yellow iron oxide, then some quinacridone burnt orange and burnt umber to age it. Then I'm going to glue everything together with the heavy gel medium, the gloss finish, just because it sticks. The liquid glass is amazing for that. I'm running out, so actually that's this one here. That's all I have left. So I can try using that. I don't know. Okay, where do I start? Well, might as well start from the beginning. So I'm going to go with the metallics. Now these ones, oh my goodness, these ones here, I can shake and shake and shake till the day's end, but I like taking my little grip tools, cotton swabs. When I've used a cotton swab, I like using these to mix up the paint. I'll just clean that off. This is really thick. I just can't shake paint the way I used to because of my arthritis. All right, and this one here should still be okay because I used it a little while ago. This one's not as thick. I find what happens, and I can mix up the paints, I don't care. I find that I'm not closing the lids the way I should be. So you know what that means, right? Stuff dries out. Okay, I'm not sure I like that enough as it is. Hang on. Okay, so, oh, I almost fell off my chair. So I'm not liking the pewter. It's not dark enough. So I'm going to get the regular metallic. Yeah, this is black. I'll get the regular metallic. See, I already told you plans are going to change. And I'll add some of that into the pewter. I wanted that to be a little bit darker. A little bit darker. That's better. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. And I can even leave it marbled. And now these sticks, as I'm going through with the metallic paint, these will make nice little pieces of little embellishments later on. Okay. Brush. So let's get some of that silver. And let's apply. Oh, what a difference. Okay, yeah, this is going to work. Could have, you know what? Soft silver. Soft silver. Let me try this one. See, I don't prepare extra sample pieces and stuff like that ahead of time. I need to get another stir stick. This is why I'm kind of playing around. And this is another thing, is that there was oh, what did she, how did she say it? She's this girl is a beginner, and she was getting frustrated because she has an idea of what she wants to do, but it never works out that way. And I said, but that's because that's the way art is. I said, just have fun with it. Don't always look at the end destination. Think of everything that you're doing up to that point. So how I look at these is that just this idea with the paint, choosing the right color, and that I intentionally started with this and it didn't work out. Then I intentionally wanted pewter and that didn't work out. So I added some black. Adapt. Because that's how you learn. That's how you learn. And there we go. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is a warm metallic. So we'll have to see how that goes. The silver was still a little dark. There we go. Look at that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of both in there. That really intensifies the gears. That really, oh God, that's beautiful. Look at that. And it looks like it's liquid metal. Now these on the flowers would have been pretty as well, but I want some contrast in there. Now I'm not going to wipe any of this back. I really want to get everything in there. I'm going to push that paint in. That's why it didn't matter about how to get that texture on the bottom. Now I'm just going to wipe that off, blot the brush, come in this way, blot the brush. And this is where my fingers were touching, so I'm going to add a little bit more paint. Come back in. And if need be, I can always add a second layer of paint. I'll let that dry. Now metallics, I like to let them dry naturally. Only because if you use too much heat, they'll bubble. And it doesn't look very nice. So now I'm going to do the flowers. So I'm going to take a small brush. And, oh yeah, that's, am I on the right side? I don't think it matters. But I'm going to end up painting both sides anyways. I think I was off camera, you know that? I'm sorry. So I'm just going to put a layer of paint. And I'm going to paint both sides of the flower. I'm not going to do that on camera because that's like boring for you guys to watch. But just do that. And thank you to Cheryl for giving me these flowers. I'm going to add a little bit of silver right over here just to get a little bit of a different feel. Yeah, I like that look. And these paints are what I really love about them. They look like molten metal. I love the look of these paints. Okay, that's that one. Then I'll just take again dirty brush and I'll just put this one in. This one I make it a little bit darker. It's gonna be on the bottom. Now this one here I'm gonna be a little bit more careful because the texture in this is like a checkerboard, and I don't want to fill in the pores. As well, my brush was just slightly damp. If you use a brush that's too wet on paper flowers, they're going to disintegrate. All right. That takes care of that. Let that dry. And now this one here, I'll try to do everything in one shot. The drying time, you know, guys know I don't have patience for that. Transparent yellow iron oxide with a little bit of gel medium. And don't dip your brush into that because it's contaminated now. I just don't want to wet my brush, but I want to make this even more transparent because it's just a glaze. I'm pressing so I can get inside this thick cardstock. So what you have is when you cut out the cardstock, the inside is white. There we go. Let's put that over there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let that stuff dry. And then off camera, I'll put another layer on this one of the ivory pearl on this. Then on this one here, I'll interchange between adding this and a little bit of this, the pewter and the soft silver on the flowers on the back side. And then this one here, I'll do another layer of the transparent yellow iron oxide. So I'll put another layer, and then when we come back, I'm going to do then a vignette wash on the cardstock with quinacridone burnt orange and finish the edges with burnt umber. And I'll edge the quote, and we just put everything together in one shot. All right, so I've got the extra coat of paint on these. Now what I didn't think about was how I was going to do the center. So I'm going to take some carbon black, yes, flat black, and I'm going to, let's see if I can just use the end of the brush to dot the center. I was thinking about using like a jewel or something, which might have been pretty. I'm going to use flat black. Oh, that's not dry yet. And then I will put, I could have used some glamour dust. Oh, that would have been pretty. I'll let that dry. Then I'm going to drop it in the middle with the liquid glass to make it look like there's a dome on it. So that's that. So I'll put that over there. And the sun is shining through the window, so hopefully you guys aren't getting a glare. All right. So I'm going to do the quinacridone burnt orange now. And let's see, what am I going to use for that? I'm going to go with a little foam brush for that. Just gonna do the edge. This is so much easier than using the kitchen wipe. You don't need to buy tools to do this. The foam brushes, they break down, so just use that instead. And then I'm not happy with the way that turned out. Not happy at all. So I'm just going to lightly go over with the quinacridone burnt orange. And then I'll wipe it back. That's better. Yeah, it didn't quite. Actually, that's turned out much nicer. See? Happy accident. Go from the outside in. There's that vignette technique I was talking about. Now, quinacridone burnt orange is super powerful. So that's why when I go do this, I'm going to go back over it again with some, what am I using? Burnt umber, which will knock it back. But if you like the brightness, that's fine. And then put a bit of burnt umber in there. And let me just dry that for a second. And then on the other side of the brush, I'll just take a little bit of burnt umber. Pad the excess. It's going to do the edge first. Yeah, that turns out nice. Okay. So then I'll just come in. And this I'll likely go over with another cloth because the color that I was going for, it didn't work out. And I have a funny feeling it has to do with the medium that I used. There we go. Keeping it really rough. Almost like a piece of iron oxide. Oxidized iron. To get this color, oh yeah, I think I was off camera again. To get this color, what I do in metal, I take a piece of copper and then I take my torch and I go over the copper and it changes colors and it's called fire painting. That's what I do to get that color on copper. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, that looks like rusted metal. Okay. Happy accident. Turned out much better than I expected. Oh, then the burnt umber as well. Again, now I'm just going to go over this edge. Now, although burnt umber is supposed to be opaque, is it opaque or is it semi-transparent? It's opaque. Because it's the fluid acrylics, it's not 100% opaque. There. Okay. So I'm going to turn around. I'm going to glue these down. Now to glue them down, I am going to use the heavy gel medium for these. Actually, no. I said I was going to use the liquid glass. I'm going to use the liquid glass. Now this flower here is kind of wonky on this side, so I'm going to make that the bottom. So let's see. Okay, first I know that this is not going to change, so I think I'm going to put that down first. And I don't want to put matte medium down because I don't want to lose the sheen. So I'm going to put little dots. Oh, of course it's plugged up. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Where's my push pins? I've got a piece of heavy gauge wire that will also work for this. There we go. Now composition wise, now I'm going to talk while I do this. Composition wise, the arrows help guide the eye in your piece. So if I was to, good Lord, I can't see. So put dots on the arrows now. So if I was to use these arrows in a different way, like if I were to put them this way, then the eye would lead out of the piece. So using directions and lines to guide you is another great way to help with the focal point of your piece. Especially with artist trading cards, they can get quite busy. And that's just by nature. That's just what happens. So I'm just going to lean this sideways. I'm going to push that down to the edge. So all I'm doing is I'm pushing it down to the edge. Perfect. There we go. That's going to take a bit to dry. It's still a little tacky. All right, so now we've got that. Yeah, so if the arrows were pointing the other way, your eye would leave the piece. And so I think I'm going to put that one there. I have to check to see if I want the big one or the little one. That's actually kind of cute like that. Oh, come on. I've got some medium on my tweezers. So now composition wise, threes. You'll never go wrong if you do it in threes. That's kind of pretty. So goes down this way. I can overlap this a little bit more. Put the quote here. Now you can put the quote, you know, on an angle if you want to do that. So I'm just going to put it like this. No biggie. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, I've got something here, 2 flowers on this side, 1 flower here. It might be a little heavy on the left. We could balance it out, and this will all be dependent on what you see. And make sure that you don't have the flowers, come on, exactly the same way. So this is exactly the same pattern. Offset it. And it's just, I just have to rotate it till I find where it actually sits nicely. There we go. So that's a little bit more balanced, where it moves the flowers over a little bit more on that side. This is going to be completely up to you. I could even take this one and put the little flower underneath. I don't think that's going to be as nice. So you choose how you want to see that. See, I like that. This one here. That's kind of pretty. So that's what I'm going to work with. And by the time I glue it down, I'm sure I will have changed my mind and done something else. Da, 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 da. Okay. Now I could overlap the petals like that. Okay. Just off center. You know what would have been smart for me to clean these tweezers? And not to put the paint in earlier on, because now I can't even push the center in. I could always add more paint. Here we go. And hopefully this is still good amount of this. Now I could lean that a little bit more to the right, which is pretty nice. So now we have something that's a little bit more balanced. And then these actually, I'm going to wait for the centers to dry, then I'm going to dot some liquid glass right in the middle. And we'll get a close-up. Okay, and while I'm at it, I'm going to take a little bit of that burnt umber and just on the side finish the edges. Now I also have some black here and some, let me just take the black into the quinacridone burnt orange and see what I get. Ooh, that's pretty. I hate wasting paint. I really don't like it. Oh, I like that. This also, when you have paper on there, it also seals the sides. And I'm going to take a baby wipe and I'm just going to break up so there's not a line. Just make sure I move around. I want to try to have some interesting shapes there. Ooh! I'm going to wipe this off, but I just want to show you what it looks like. Wow. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that because of the metal. Uh-oh. Joe always says, if I'd stop experimenting while doing the art, the videos would go a lot faster. But that's the fun part, is the experimenting. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to put the liquid glass in the middle. That'll dry completely transparent. And I'm going to make sure that it's leveled a little bit. There we go. All right. That is so cool. So I'm thinking now this would have been too much, but an idea could have been if I left that flat black, maybe just put a little bit of, like say, a satin varnish on that. And I could have used a liquid glass to completely cover the quote, because quotes that are covered with a clear, thick, clear layer are beautiful. That's why a lot of times when you see stuff that's really pretty is like a cutout of it and it's got resin on top because it looks like glass. That is beautiful. That's nice and hard now. So the quote that I put down is just sits on top. Gorgeous. All right, gonna let this dry, and we come back, we'll see what it looks like. All finished. Now, doesn't this look like metal, actual metal? That all that is just embossed paper painted with metallic paint. That's all it is. So although we already added the finish to the edges, I'm going to just take some ink and I'm just going to add a little bit more. And I can also come in here and I'm just using Distress ink because I would use Stays On, but my Stays On is dried out. Now you just finish the edges like that. And that's optional. You don't have to do that. There you go. Paint is even better because it's permanent. A little bit messier though. So what do you think? I would love to see your take on this. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, head on over to the Facebook group. Link is below because that's where everything is happening and that's where I'm doing all my feedback. What to do is head over there. And if you're in the Facebook group, perfect. Post a picture of your take on this. I would love to see your rendition of this. And then if you have any specific questions, ask what type of feedback you're looking for. If you're looking for help on composition, substitutions for material, color questions. So ask, don't just post a picture and nothing else, because then we're wondering, what do you want us to comment on? Okay, just don't post a picture. Put some context to it, and because that'll just make it easier for people to help you. Alrighty. I would love to see your version of this, so post it below, and I'm going to clean up, get ready for the next video, and until I see you there, stay inspired.